I mean, he's coming back to the U.S. It seems he's hoping to get bail, which would perhaps a little bit optimistic on his front. But, you know, how serious are the charges against him? What's likely to be the process here, and how long will it take?
The charges are very, very serious, and there are essentially many counts, 8 counts of different sorts of fraud. And I can tell you, sort of, judges here in the U.S. look to something called the federal sentencing guidelines, and they're not mandatory, but they provide a guideline range for judges. And on sort of a very quick look at those guidelines, the guideline range, I mean, he's looking potentially at life in prison here. So the charges are very, very serious. What will happen next is he will arrive in the United States and he will have an arraignment. So he'll be able to plead guilty or not guilty, likely pleading not guilty to sort of let the case play out a little bit. But then he will be entitled to a detention hearing or a bail hearing. And that will be a mini trial because part of what the judge will look to is what is the strength of the government's evidence. And here it's likely pretty strong. The other thing that the court will look to is sort of what are his ties to the United States? Is he likely a flight risk, or will he stay in the United States to appear at trial? I would say sort of a lot of these foundings were made in the Bahamian court, and they ultimately detained him. So I think it's a very much we'll see. His lawyers will be arguing vigorously for sort of house arrest and electronic monitoring. But I think that we'll definitely sort of see a mini trial play out over the next few days in New York court.
Do you think he's going to plead not guilty? I mean, it would appear that there's an awful lot of evidence against him already. Doesn't it make more sense for him to try and cut a deal?
So at an initial hearing, it's almost pro forma. You'll plead not guilty. But then really where this becomes interesting over the next few weeks and months, does he try to cooperate? Is he really serious about making users whole? Because that'll be a big part of the government's case here. They will want to go out and do everything they can to find those funds to ensure that the victims are made whole. So he could potentially cooperate. He could potentially provide assistance to the government. He could potentially plead guilty, which would inevitably get that guideline range down, which will really be important for him here.